Yes, we're live. Good evening and welcome. Wow, I get lots of every time I screen changing color. I'll try to get my hands out of the screen a bit more then. Good evening. My name is Barry Selby. Welcome to my daily Facebook live message broadcast, etc., etc. Thanks for all the love already. I'm just getting signed in. This is my daily broadcast, and let me start with who I am and get into the details in a moment. I am a passionate champion for the divine feminine. Also a best-selling author, speaker, and relationship attraction expert, helping strong, successful women find balance in love, life, and business. And these are my daily Facebook Live talks that I do, called Messages from the Masculine to Inspire the Feminine Heart. This is number 248, because I've done a few of these already. You can find on my business page. I'll tell you about those at the end. And tonight's topic is not ripped from the headlines. That would be pushing my luck a bit much, I think. But it's basically, let me sit a bit closer. It's basically, I'm aware of these choices people make. You see, because a lot of it, the idea, I think I'll say this another way. You know the conversation about how opposites attract, and men and women are so different and polar opposites, everything else. For some people, maybe not most, but some people I feel, their choice in relationship is one where they are either looking to overcome the other person, to sway them to their view of life, which is a really sort of a conquest, or always holding them at arm's length because they don't understand them, which is quite common too. I believe personally that a true relationship is a partnership. That's where both partners are facing the same way, looking the same direction, not two partners facing each other. Not be able to see anything except their partner. That's a bit codependent, by the way. In fact, maybe that's the model of codependence. I'm struggling with this a little bit because I don't have the clarity yet. It tends to show up a little bit into the broadcast, so bear with me as I sort of recover some of the basic topics, basic keys. The challenge of relationships is that 90% of the time we don't understand each other. And I think that's a problem. I have to read. I have to glasses to read that one. Robin, thank you. So polarity could be masked as please fulfill this side of me. I'm willing to work on myself. Interesting. So this is what your teacher spoke of, Buddhist monk, that we spoke of nourishment in self to feed self. Interesting topic. So polarity can be masked as please fulfill this side of me. I'm willing to work on myself. Well, yes. Well, I call it back, but I don't use polarity in that sense because for me polarity is used. I use in the context of masculine and feminine polarity. But this is, I understand what you mean. Here's a piece. I was waiting for a piece to show up, and it just did. But it relates to what you said, Robin. Relationships will tend to surface that which we haven't resolved yet. That provides an opportunity. The opportunity can be to go, oh, look, stuff I haven't resolved yet. Let me work on that and resolve it and become better and be more whole. That's not what most people do. What most people tend to do is blame the other person for the upset they feel inside. And this leads into a topic about projection, which I'm not going to talk about here, but I was talking about this with a new friend this morning. And the projection being not wanting to take on ownership of our own upset. We want to blame somebody else for it, thinking it's their fault that we feel this way, which is an errant approach, and it's inaccurate too. So in a way, what you said about please fulfill this side of myself, I'm willing to work on myself, is a trap people fall into. Because they think that somehow, being in a relationship, the other person should do the work. Not themselves, the other person. Ain't going to happen. And really, as you sort of hinted at in what you said, it is about nourishment in self to feed the self. Meaning, I would interpret that as being focusing on self wholeness, is a better way of putting it, at the betterment of the relationship, not at the expense. And the opportunity to express our fullness by willing to fill ourselves up and be whole ourselves is the primary opportunity in a romantic relationship. Not sex, not love, not having people do stuff for you. The opportunity to grow, to heal, to become more ourselves. Now, again, most people out in the world, maybe not watching my broadcasts, but most people out there don't have a clue about this. They're in a relationship usually out of convenience, or to get something they don't think they have. Maybe it's to have sex, or to have someone to wake up next to in the morning, to distract them from their own self. So, okay, Robin, what do you say to that? Self-reliance, I believe you mentioned, versus clinging onto what we haven't yet mastered to get something. Yes, codependency, yes, exactly. It's interesting that we become more self-reliant sometimes in a relationship than we do on our own. I mean, personally for me, this journey being solo has been about building self-reliance, but more about the place of wholeness, from a place of self-trust, self-confidence, self-approval, self-love, self-support, self-trust, and a few other self-things. In a relationship, that's also available. And for many people, being either tied to making the other person happy or tied to self-care at the expense of the other person is a paradigm many people live in, which is codependence, as you were mentioning. And codependence is something I've talked about before in broadcasts. I talk about it in my book, and I recommend other books about it as well. It's a paradigm that people have lived in for many generations. I mean, I know that I went through that in my early dating life, and it was something my parents were living that I'm aware of too. So I'm aware of this this shift, this understanding that codependence is the old model that doesn't work, and that the way we can become whole in relationships so we can become better partners is a choice that ideally both partners make. Because the other part of this as well is that if you choose to become more whole, self-supportive, self-loving, and your partner doesn't, that isn't going to work. It may, in fact, be the impetus and the requirement that you leave the relationship. Because if you become whole and full and self-supportive, your partner doesn't, they will either try and feed off of that, which is a really messy codependent model, or they're going to reject you because you're showing them what they're not doing. Again, back to the projection piece. Because if they don't almost face it, and you're showing in their face, this is what I am now, and they're going, but I don't want that. That's a projection and resentment type model, which for them sucks. It may hurt you initially, but it's worth you stepping free. You know? I'm sorry, I have to read. The font's small on my screen, so read it. What does it sound like in a conversation with your partner? Ooh, you want to ask that question? Let's see where I am with that one. In a conversation where there may be conflict, the codependent reaction, the codependent response, or codependent statement is, you did this to me. That's simple. The interdependent and self-ownership way of responding, saying something like that, or responding to something that triggered you, is to say that when you did that, I felt upset. It makes a distinction between blaming the other person and being aware that what the other person did allowed something inside of ourselves to come up and become triggered. So, I mean, the difference is kind of distinct, and I don't know if that example was clear enough, but that's really the truth. It's when you blame the other person, say, you did this to me, first of all, you make them responsible for how you feel, which makes you a victim of what they're doing. Whereas if you say that I felt this way when you did that, like if, I'm trying to think of an example. So for example, a really basic one, which people do. I hate it when you leave the toothpaste cap off. That puts you in place of victim, because if they do it again, you're going to hate it, and they know they can control you. Not good. If you say to them, by the way, I feel upset when the toothpaste cap is off, and I'd love it if you would put the cap back on again, or something to that effect. That's a more softer way of putting it, but it's a place of also saying it in a way that is honest, ownership, and from a responsible place, because you're not blaming them for doing something wrong that's upsetting you. I could probably think of much worse ones to use, but that's a model an example I can use. So that might help you in the conversation context, Robin. and I guess what I'm realizing more and more as I'm talking about this is this framing of the blaming, judging, and being unwilling to take on our own stuff and to want to put the blame on the other person is a codependent model. It is in some ways, the epitome of codependence. It's a trap that people fall into and live in, and still do live in, generation after generation. Part of my coaching, my message is to teach my clients how to do that, because I believe codependency is a failed opportunity to grow, and it puts us in a victim position and also gives us no chance to really own our power. I talk about that evolution from codependence through independence to interdependence, because we do want to be with other people, and we do have certain things we depend upon the other person, and we don't need that person to feel okay. So it's a place of being additive in a relationship. I talked about in my book about relationships on 50-50, the 100-100. And so this dance of ownership and dance of responsibility is a healthy partnership where what happens between partners is additive, not filling in some gap the other one thinks they have, which is because it's not real. I'm just thinking of something else, because I'm feeling about 5 different spokes on this, and I'm not sure if I want to go down any one of those paths at this point. Excuse me a second. Get some water. I think that may be it. I know I'm planting seeds here and really sharing the tip of the iceberg, because this stuff is deep stuff. And when I do my coaching and courses, I go deeper into these topics, but I just want to give you some hints on what's possible. So I hope that was of use to you. I think that's it. Just feeling into other perspectives. I don't think there's anything I want to put in this broadcast. I may go deeper in this another time. But if you have any questions and you want to find out more about this, you reach out to me directly over social media or phone me through my website, which is barrysolby.com, and you can click on Let's Chat and reach out to me that way. This is my 248th Facebook Live. 220 or so in a row, daily. Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. And they're meant to be inspiring, evocative, and informative. So hopefully that is what this has been to you. I appreciate the comments, and thank you, Robin, for throwing these questions at me. It's been helpful to get me going deeper in what this topic was about. I think that's about it. Oh, the rest of my broadcasts, if you want to watch other broadcasts, if you go to my business page on Facebook, which is barrysolby.author, all my Facebook Lives are there. And also on my YouTube channel, which is Barry Selby. You can find them under the Messages from the Masculine playlist. And I think that's it. My invitation to you, as always, is to take care of yourself, to honor, respect, and love who you are, to take care of yourself enough that when somebody meets you, you don't need them to fix you. Thank God. You don't need them to feel whole. But you can enjoy sharing time with them because you're adding to who you already are. And that's a bonus. And that will change your life. As simple as that, it will. Thank you for watching and being with me. Thanks for much sharing my broadcast now. If anybody should watch this, please share it with them. And I'll be back again tomorrow. I think that's... I'm just scanning ahead. It's been a long day today. I was at a Gapio morning this morning, then a Super Bowl party this afternoon, into the evening, and then wrapping that up. And I think I need to rest. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being with me. I will see you again tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. And I appreciate you being with me. Bye.